Hi, good evening. Today is Wednesday, October 14th, and Writing with Chance. Getting down to the end, and let's find out. Troy and his buddy made up, and so let's find out what's going on with Troy in chapter 32. Truth is a funny thing. I mean, sometimes it's okay to tell a little lie so nobody gets their feelings hurt. Like Grandmom's mac and cheese was a little off that night she kissed Uncle Ronnie, but I still said it was good. And was it a lie to let Dre think Jerome fell because of Winston's wet bricks? Dre said he'd slipped at Winston's house before. I talked all this over with Chance on our ride the next day. She was glad I had Foster back in my corner, even if he wasn't all into her like I was. That was okay. Me and Chance both knew I was real lucky to have him as a friend. Winston called me into his office when I got back to the barn. Watching you with these animals reminds me of Jerome, he said. He'll be back tomorrow, you know. I didn't let on that I'd already heard the news. So he's okay? Yes, thank goodness he's fine. Well, I'm cool, I said, but I can't speak for him. I've spoken with him several times since he's been out, said Winston. He just wants to get back to his training. I nodded to signal I felt the same way. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told him. He paused here so his words would sink in. Any trouble and you're out. You got that? I hear you, I said. All right. He looked relieved that he'd gotten that out of the way. I was getting up to leave when Alicia knocked on Winston's door. She came in without waiting for him to answer. Oh, I'm sorry, she said. I didn't know you had anybody with you. It's okay, said Winston. What's on your mind? Alicia lowered her eyes. Don't try to act shy now, he teased. I just ran into Dre and he told me Jerome's coming back. That's right, said Winston. Me and Troy were just talking about it. Alicia cut her eyes at me. Well, are you still going to need Marcus for exhibition? I know he was ready to substitute. Probably not, said Winston. He was willing to help us out, but his family's already moved away. Winston looked at his watch and stood up. I have somebody coming for a lesson, he said. Is that all you wanted to ask me? Alicia gave her uncle a weak smile. Okay, he said. Don't keep Troy too long. He's still got a lot of work to do. We heard him whistling as he walked out to meet his student. Alicia leaned up against the wall behind Winston's desk. What's the good word? I said. That's what I was going to ask you. Chance is cool, I said, shrugging. I'm getting ready for exhibition. You still, keeping everything to yourself? She looked a little bit sad, like maybe she missed being friends. No, I said, I took your advice. I talked to somebody about it. That's good, she said. It's not good to keep bad stuff to yourself. Yeah, well, Foster understood the whole thing. Foster, she said. That's the only person you told? She sat down in Winston's chair and put her head in her hands. Troy, you're still trying to get over. You need to straight up with Uncle Winston or Dre. Somebody like that. Can't do it, I said, looking out the window. They'll kick me out. You don't know that, she said. They understand everything you've been through. What have I been through, Alicia? I turned around so we were looking at each other. First my mom dies and then the cops jump me. Do you know how that feels? I don't know how it feels to be jumped, but I know about the other part. She sat back in Winston's chair and looked up at the ceiling. Both of my parents are dead, Troy. Did you hear me? Both of them. She sat there breathing real hard. Remember I told you it gets better? She closed her eyes and one little tear streamed down her face. That wasn't a lie. It's true. It does get better. But sometimes I still catch myself crying. And the problem is, I don't know which one of them I'm crying for. Probably both, I said. What? She opened her eyes and wiped the tears off her chin. You're probably crying for both of them and for yourself. I think you're crying for yourself too, she said. You just don't want to admit it. She stood up and pushed Winston's chair in close under his desk. But you're losing yourself in your hard feelings. I can handle the hard feelings. Right, she gave a little laugh. Just what we need around here, another person who's mad all the time. I can handle Jerome too, I said. I sure hope so, Troy. I really, really do. I took a detour going home that day. Just wanted to spend more time in the park by myself. Fairmont Park. It was more a part of me than ever before. I watched the little yellow birds with black wings darting in and out of the bushes. Felt like even they were asking me when I was going to let the bad stuff go. Alicia was right. I didn't want to be hard anymore. If I stayed hard, it would mean the cops had won. They tried to make me feel small that night out on the sidewalk, but they couldn't stop everything I had going for me. Only I could do that if I let the hardness take over. Well, that's not how I wanted to flow. That's not what my mom had loved about me. That's not what I loved about myself. And that, friends, was chapter 32. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, friends.